folks, Jimmy and Leila here for episode 191. We're 9 weeks away from the big 200.
Yes.
Oh boy, this is going to be
epic, right?
Epic. epic 200th episode, yes. And of course, you have something that you're going to be busy with right before that.
Before that, yes.
Yes.
We'll have the big free comic book day episode. Very
2
soon.
2 weeks from our big free comic book day episode. So stick with us for that. I'll let you get to it. For some comic book reviews.
Yes. So this week, the big Batman crossover, the big Batman universe crossover called Night of the Owls began with 2 releases. So I'm going to review both of them for you. First up, we've got Nightwing number 8. This is the prelude. So basically, the whole big story is that the Bat family faces the Court of Owls as their assassins known as the Talon attack Gotham City's most prominent citizens. So in this issue, Alfred calls out to all the friends of Batman to aid them in, trying to thwart Talon's assassination attempts on nearly 40 of Gotham's prominent citizens. And they're all doing it in like one night. So Nightwing drops the case.
Talented.
So Nightwing drops the case that he's working on and rushes to the aid of Mayor Haddey, and finds more than he bargained for. And meanwhile, in a flashback, we learned more about some of Gotham's prominent families in the early 1900s, as well as a less prominent member, William Cobb, who earned money for his family traveling with Halley's Circus, which, sort of parallels Dick Grayson's own existence in the circus and stuff. So that's kind of cool. So I thought this was a great issue. It had wonderful art and story. The story's by Kyle Higgins, and I thought it was awesome. I really enjoyed the clever layouts of the book and the design of it. Like, it was just really cool. Like, while Nightwing's, like, fighting and whatever, like, they show, the way that they show, like, Alfred talking to him through the suit, they show sort of, like, like a night vision goggles and how, like, all the text going through there, and then there's all this action going on behind it. I just thought it was really clever. And so kudos to artist Eddie Barrows for that. I thought it was awesome.
All right, next up we have Courtney Crumrin, number 1. This is a new ongoing series from the Courtney Crumrin graphic novels from the last few years.
Yes.
And in this one, when Courtney befriends a newcomer, it may be too good to be true after she begins to teach her of magic, and she is forced to take desperate measures when her new friend goes too far. Okay, never having read a Courtney Crumrin book before, I have to say I was quite impressed. This is quite good.
Yeah.
It's not too bad for, I'd say, teenagers.
Yeah, exactly.
That are getting into comics. Yeah. It's a little dark at points, and some of the characters you don't have a good feeling for, but there's very good reason for that.
Yeah.
So it works. I quite liked it.
Yeah.
So if you want to try something a little different, this is probably for you. It's a lot of good fun for a first new issue in a series.
Yeah, if you're just jumping into comics for the first time or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a good, especially for girls. And there's not a lot of girl material out there that's not,
it's really well written, it's really well drawn, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, more from the Night of the Owls. This is Batman number 8. Yes! So the Court of Owls assassins attack Wayne Manor and try and kill Bruce and stumble on Bruce's secret life. Uh-oh. So after...
Dun, dun, dun.
So after a grueling fight defending themselves and the mansion, Bruce and Alfred uncover the court's plan and send out the call for aid. So, that ties into the Nightwing book, which you're supposed to read first, but then just sort of jumps back into, how Nightwing gets into it.
What is this, Lost all over again?
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, this one was only okay for me. Most of it's just fighting, sort of beginning to end, like in the mansion and stuff, and Bruce taking on, like, a bunch of the Talon assassins, but not in the suit, which I guess that's kind of cool. It is interesting to note that the story sort of opens with Bruce in a really dark place. He's healing from his wounds in the dark, and he feels like he's failing the city that he's trying to protect, and now he has to reach out to, like, all of his friends to try and do exactly that, because the Court of Owls has become so big. So that part was cool. I still don't like Capullo on Batman, and I know that there's lots of people that shoot me down for this, but I still don't like it.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? But
Hey, at least he's not drawing Spawn anymore. Oh wait.
But I do like, Snyder's writing here, and I'm excited for this whole crossover. I mean, I like anything that's sort of a contained crossover. Let's, in and out. Let's get it done. I like those, and so far this is off to a good start.
All right, next up, we have Fanboys VS Zombies #1. And in this one, when some rancid food causes a zombie outbreak inside America's largest comic convention, and an unlikely band of geeks must band together and use their genre savvy to survive. Okay, yeah, this is awesome. This is great. This is utterly hilarious in every way. If you're a geek, it's gonna go over every trope that you love and or hate. So
nice.
Yeah, this is a really fun first issue. And for $1, you really can't go wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
Art's pretty darn good. It's done in a really cartoony style, which I think really works for this.
Yeah.
And the storyline is very silly.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what it needs to be.
Fanboys versus Zombies. I mean, you know what you're getting.
Exactly. Character-wise, it's okay. I mean, the standard tropes of all the geek characters / there's a jock too, so it's like, okay, yeah, we all get this.
He probably gets bitten by the zombies first.
I'm not saying anything, but yeah, people die, people get eaten, etc. So, trust me when I say, don't eat convention hot dogs.
You've heard it here. Okay, so next up we've got The Shadow #1. So The Shadow, Lamont Cranston, brings his own brand of justice to Ikiro Ito and Tato Kondo.
I thought The Shadow was Alec Baldwin.
Yeah. Doesn't really look like that in this book. They haven't gone with that likeness.
Oh, good.
Anyway, so
the less said about that movie, the better.
Yeah. So he brings his own brand of justice to 2 Japanese nationals who are part of the Japanese Army intelligence. And later, he's asked to join a team in search of the same thing that the Japanese intelligence agents were looking for. But will they get to them first? I didn't really like it. I didn't really like the art by Campbell, and I didn't really like the story by Ennis, which is really weird. It didn't really...
Really?
Yeah, it didn't really grab me.
Ennis wrote a bad story.
I don't know. It just didn't really grab me. And the fans of The Shadow, I'm sure maybe you'll like this. Maybe it's written for you. But then again, they could maybe not like it. I don't know. It has a certain appeal for people who like action and mystery with sort of a side of the mystical. I guess that's the best way to put it if you aren't familiar with The Shadow at all. But it's sort of hard to follow this issue the way they sort of jump around, and like I said, the art style didn't really help it a whole bunch. But maybe the next issue will be a bit better. In the next issue, they're supposed to be like going, traveling over to the east and searching out this thing that they're looking for, and we don't know what that is. So there's a lot of still questions at the end of this issue, but overall, it's just okay for me. It didn't make me go, oh, I can't wait for #2. It just, it was all right.
Alright, and last for me is Danger Club #1. And in this one, faced with a deadly universal peril, the world's greatest heroes left Earth to face the nightmarish evil, leaving only their teenage sidekicks behind. Will this new Danger Club unite or fall apart at the seams? They fall apart at the seams.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're going to fall apart. But then that leaves room for them to come back together later.
Yes. Well, basically it turns into a fight club of teenage superheroes facing down each other and basically being gangs. So then it comes down to one guy is the leader, one guy is against what this guy is for, and beats the ever-living crap out of him. So...
Is there a girl involved?
There is a girl involved.
See? It's West Side Story all over again. It's superhero comics.
Yes. But if I were to compare this to anything, it's another superhero book that's comparative to Kick-Ass.
Okay.
All right. With the amount of blood and gore and fighting in this book.
And it's just Marvel's... No, it's Image.
It's Image.
Okay, so I was going to say...
But, I mean, it's well written. It's got interesting characters that you do start to care about as you're reading. It's just really bloody, so I can't recommend it for a younger audience, but teenagers above will probably enjoy it. And the fact that they kill the guy at the end is pretty intense because they have to all band together to stop the cosmic entity that is now heading towards Earth.
Interesting.
So, yeah, this is a lot of fun. If you're into superheroes, check this one out. It's pretty good.
Okay, and last up for me is a free preview book in the stores this week. There's one for Avengers, and then there's this one that looked a little bit more interesting to me. It's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And so this is basically trying to drum up interest for the graphic novel that will be releasing in November.
Wow, long way off.
Yeah, it's still a long way off. So anyway, I'm not familiar with this whole thing. I've not read the story. I have not read the movies. So this is
you haven't read the movies?
Yes. Well, one of them has.
What?
Doesn't the original one have subtitles?
Yes.
So then you have to read it, watch it, and read it. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So I am not familiar with it at all.
We won't go into the David Fincher film then.
I haven't seen it either, but I've been told that I should read the book first.
Read the book first.
That's what I've heard.
Yes.
Okay, so from a person who's not familiar.
Read the trilogy first. It's really good.
From a person who's not familiar, here's my review. Mikhail Blomqvist, thank you, loses a libel case involving accusations about a billionaire industrialist named Hans Erik Wennerström, right?
Wennerström.
Thank you. So soon afterwards, he's invited to meet...
That German blood in me.
Yes, soon afterwards, he's invited to meet Henrik Venger, and he's unaware that this guy, before hiring him or talking to him, has looked into his professional and personal history with the aid of the unusual and talented Lisbeth Salander. So Venger offers him money and evidence against his foe, but at what cost? So, okay, this was pretty good. I mean, it was a little confusing at first. Like I said, if you're not familiar with the source material, this really jumps around a lot. Just to get into the story. It's a solid, if slow, beginning.
Trust me when I say the books and the movies are very slow to begin. Once it gets into it...
Yeah, I sensed we were right on the edge of when it was going to be okay, bam, here's all the action.
It's pretty much you're running up towards a precipice and then you jump off.
Yeah, exactly.
The story takes off. Yeah.
So this is all that up to that point where it starts to get really exciting. I do wish the interior art was by...
Me too.
Like this beautiful cover.
Yes. I really wish the cover artist was also drawing it.
Yes. I just like a little less gritty style. It was just very grainy and
agreed.
I don't know. I didn't like that as much, but from what I can tell, this sounds like a really interesting story. And I guess I'm gonna have to get on reading those books because so many people have told me I should look into it. Yeah. So I'll do that next. And then we'll see. But I enjoyed the free preview, so pick that up.
All right, and that brings to a close another exciting episode of Geeking Out. We will see you next week for episode 192.